Tank LIPP 2014 freestyle. We're in part 28, Tank LIPP versus DAYLYT. Another video blog. Going to continue. Instead of doing like 5 videos a day, now I'm on my blog series. As we approach the upcoming battle, Tank LIPP versus DAYLYT, maybe we just hit you with, one video each day instead of flooding you with, and overwhelming you with, 5 to 10 videos a day. And maybe even at this point, some could argue that, if 27 videos already been done, that any video after that is redundant. But the story's so big that, new messages keep coming to me each day. The new audiences and new fans keep tuning in as the word gets out and that bigger picture spreads. So, I feel like I do kind of have to continue. But, maybe we just hit you with one a day right now until the battle. So I want to go back into the background of Tank LIPP, like that hell type situation. The world's starting to tune in into the bigger picture, not just the rap battle, but my battle with mental illness. And so, I want to give you more background as my responsibility now that I got a venue, I got an audience, I got fans, if you're not a fan, I still got people tuning in. So, that's a real battle is mental illness. So now I got the obligation and responsibility to teach you a little bit. And I feel like I might just be the right person to teach you, not just based on the merits of the fact that I actually got a master's degree in mental health counseling, but I did that after the fact of having a mental illness for 15, 20 years, and maybe it was even before that, and I was just too ignorant and young at the time to even understand the mental illness until I actually got diagnosed. So maybe it's just official on paper, my battle with mental illness for 15, 20 years, but I'm 34, and actually I've probably been battling it since I was a baby, since the beginning of my life with mental illness. So it's been a lifelong battle the entire time since I was born. And I actually try to flip the ultimate script on my mental illness by, through my adversity, I thought, do I die in vain? Or do I try to make something positive out of a negative situation? And so I went to school. I got my bachelor's degree at UCF. Took me 10 years because of all my battles. I couldn't just do a bachelor's in 4. It took me 10 years, but I still did it. Took a year off from college, and then in 2010, I went for my master's degree. And, I got all 17 classes of my master's degree done. I just got 3 internships left to do. And now I'm also kind of doing my internship in life. Could also possibly be to just teach the world about mental illness. But how significant it is just that I flipped the script, that I've been about as sick as you could get mentally. I mean, I've been psychotic, I've been that. I've been dead to alive so many times with my mental illness, with the psychosis. And for a man to be that deep into that, to also flip back into, quote, normal for those moments, just to go through a master's degree and all the discipline you have to do to, in that venue, to go to school and make the grades and study the information and actually learn it. And my master's degree is 17 actual classes, just different courses about mental illness. And then they give you 3 internships. And so it's basically 20 classes, it's a master's degree. So I got all 17 classes done. It took me from 2010 to 2014 to do that. So right now, I'm also simultaneously to the music. I'm trying to get into the hospitals and get an internship so I could complete those final 3 requirements that my school has for my master's degree. And, so that battle. But, so I'm getting a master's degree. I flipped that script on my mental illness, that I could be in adversity, but then also use that to contribute to the world, like give back to others, help people through the same situations that I've been through when I was sick, and I know firsthand, you know, battling sickness my entire life. So actually, as insane as it seems that a crazy man would then be in hospitals or a private practice somewhere trying to help sick people, as insane as that is, it actually makes sense because I understand the struggle firsthand because I've actually been in them shoes. So that message reached me at some point early on, and I thought, while it'll be a battle to go through school, being sick, you know, let me do this, and maybe it'll help me get through my own illness too, and it serves a bunch of different purposes. So, you know, I did that, and like, you know, a lot of people say, how can you help others until you learn how to help yourself? So I kind of, once again, did it in reverse. I learned how to counsel others before I could actually help myself. So I've been actually applying the information I've been learning at school and then corresponding it to my own personal life and my struggles. So I've been that. So that's a part of my story and background that y'all should understand. But I want to regress for a moment and go back into, like I said, the illness has kind of been like an entire lifetime. But there was a point where, you know, I was kind of mainstream in society. No one, maybe they suspected I had issues or problems, or this guy is kind of a nutcase. But I was mainstreaming as normal, you know. I've been in the public schools. I never went to a private school or anything. You know, I went to a regular high school, a regular middle school, regular elementary schools. I've never been private schools or nothing. You know, I've always been mainstreamed in society, but also battling the issues at the same time. But there did get a point, I don't, for all practical purposes, I don't remember exactly what year it was, or actually, let me say this. I want to just start from this point, because this is a great point to show where the illness became more debilitating. And I would say it was when, like, war actually struck the United States, you know, and maybe it actually happened long before this, but let's just say when 9/11 happened, you know, what was that, 2001 or something, like, my illness got very debilitated, and, you know, from that point, I cycled down, and I got worse. You know, that fear that the war was so real to our homeland, you know, that struck within me. That was like a fear toxin, like literally based on the merits of war actually really occurring, and actually was like a fear toxin, like they talk about fear toxins in Batman, and the Joker does some shit with the fear toxins and like scares the whole city. Like that actually, like my illness is so deep that I like personalize so much stuff. Like I just have the type of brain based on genetics where I just attach like a lot of meanings to stuff, and where a lot of people were like, okay, you know, there's a war going on, people dying, but life continues. Like for me, it kind of got me frozen. Like that feeling of impending doom that could happen at any day. Like if they could breach, you know, New York City, like the most populated city in the world, where you think you would be the safest, or maybe that's ignorant to say, maybe that's exactly why they was a target, because they was the most populated city. But to see that happen, you know, fucking like some out of this world, like unreal shit, like planes hitting a building, I was like, if that could happen there, you know, I could be at school one day and fucking terrorists gonna do some shit. So, you know, I'm trying to be very careful that y'all don't think I'm ignorant, but this is very real. Like I already had the mental illness, and then if I wasn't paralyzed enough from my own mental illness, from my own bad genetics, then I got real circumstantial events actually putting me in a state of crisis. And so from that point, you know, the world, a lot of people say, you know, stay away from war, but it's like, a lot of times it's necessary, because if someone has the power to do evil, then, you know, if you don't want that evil to continue, then someone's always going to be out there trying to stop it. And if someone's so powerful and you're trying to stop that powerfulness, then it takes war and it takes weapons to stop that. So in a way, as much as you want to preach, you know, against war, it's like in the world, unfortunately, war is necessary. So I've had to come to terms with that reality. And then talk about the fact that I got reality problems. It's like this is a very real situation. Like, we really had terrorism on our homeland. And so I'm paralyzed by this. And that's a real situation. And maybe if it had years before, if I were to tell, you know, my parents or my family, like, I'm afraid, you know, a bomb's going to drop, there's going to be war, they would tell me that's crazy, that will never happen, that's just something from the books. But then it's actually a real problem, and you know, it's a war in itself, just to try to ground